Hello, guys. So I want to preface this second part of my story that I'm telling you with another story that I heard just earlier today, just so that you understand. Like I said before, comparing traumas is like comparing apples to oranges. I'm not comparing my trauma to anyone else. I just want you to understand. I know there are people out there that have dealt with very extreme physical and psychological traumas. I'm just telling you my own story. But here's the other one as well. So, I was listening to this guy's story about his health problems. How he has Parkinson's, and he just found out today, and it devastated him. He's also got diabetes, and he's had his feet amputated already due to it. He takes very good care of himself, yet his body is just breaking down, and he can't figure out why, and neither can his doctors. He's afraid that he's going to get his right leg amputated in the near future because he just got an infection, and his insulin medication, as well as the antibiotics he was taking, caused severe reactions, which therefore led him to have to stop taking the antibiotics, which prevented the spread of the infection that was in his foot, and also led him nearly to, his doctors even told him this, nearly led his heart exploding, because had he taken 5 more cc's of his insulin medication, he would have died, is what they told him. So I understand. My traumas, if you wanted to compare them to some of your own, are minuscule. I just want you to relate. I want you to understand when you hear my story. If you know me in person, you might understand why I might have difficulty with things like, you just understand stuff. It seems that what I'm telling you about my past has been an exercise in teaching me the most difficult lesson to learn when fighting evil. And that is how to combat their most powerful tool. And that tool is projection. As I described in a previous video, projection is very, very difficult to fight. Period. Still extremely difficult to fight with evidence, no matter how powerful. And damn near impossible to fight without evidence. So, let us continue. Knowing that I am far behind the learning curve, I go back to my primary training base and study my butt off. At least at first, it appears to pay off. I go into my first flight in this new aircraft, which is the T6, and my instructor grades me as slightly above average, to my relief. So I continue through the first phase of T6s, because there's multiple phases in each aircraft that you fly in training, and do well, passing all of my rides, up until my pre-solo flight, where I fail 2 in a row. I still do not know any better. That is, I don't know how to compare myself to anybody else, because I have yet to see any of the other students fly. So I'm assuming that, indeed, I have some deficiencies that need to be addressed. Now, when you fail 2 flights in a row, you need to... When you fail 2 flights in a row in pilot training, you automatically are made to fly with the flight commander, so that they can check for themselves if you have any any problems progressing properly. Therefore, I flew with my flight commander on my next flight. He was confused as to how I failed my last 2 flights, because my progression, in his eyes, was either normal or above average. This could have been my first clue, but only in retrospect could I say that something may have been up. Something may have smelled fishy. Nevertheless, I went to my solo after, and I did fine. But when I got to the first phase of my first phase's check ride, I failed it. Legitimately, because I got my sight picture messed up and couldn't safely land the plane. I legitimately messed it up. I remember that distinctly. When my instructor and I got to debrief, I had a smile on my face, and I fully accepted that I deserved the failed check ride. We were cordial after, but I redid my check ride after, and I passed it with no problems. The next phase was aerobatics. I had no issue with this phase of training. Nevertheless, I got to my check ride, and I executed nearly to perfection. And what I mean by that is you have certain aspects of your flying that are indeed black and white and quantitative, like whether or not you enter a particular maneuver at the right speed, how many Gs you sustain, if you can complete a maneuver, if you stall out, or anything like that. And I did, in fact, execute all the maneuvers nearly to perfection. But then, my instructor threatens to fail me, because I almost flew outside the training area. Now, this was wrong. Indeed, I should not have done that, and in real life, that is a dangerous issue, so you have to be very careful with it. I accepted the critique, adrenaline pumping through my veins, and was happy I passed. Then, we had a turn. It was the navigation phase. In this phase, I failed all but one flight. And I went to an elimination check ride, where the director of operations of the entire squadron flew with me. That's the second in command of the squadron. I executed the flight without any flaws. And he was not only surprised I had gone to an 89 ride, that's what you call an elimination check, but also somewhat angry at my leadership. I was unbelievably nervous during the flight, and more than slightly depressed, because having failed all the flights in this phase, anybody would be, right? As my flight commander had changed, and the new guy basically told me that he didn't think I should be in the Air Force, that was a very big part of it.